Hey guys, it's Archon. I've actually decided to make an auction house guide for each of the 5 classes. So this is going to be the Witch Doctor auction house guide, and we're going to be working with a budget of 50 million gold. I think 50 million is a good amount because I would build the set the same way with 50 mil as I would on a budget anywhere between 10 mil and a billion gold. If you had more than that or less than 10 mil, then it might change up a little bit, but I think this is a good budget and it will showcase how almost anyone could build a Witch Doctor set. So you can see I already have a set of gear on here. That way we can compare items using the auction house tooltip compare tool. And to get started off, we're going to get a Scorn. So this is going to be a build for a Witch Doctor using Fire Bats or Acid Cloud or Zombie Bears. The only build that this wouldn't really work for is Zero Dog, but this is going to work for the majority of Witch Doctors. So we want a slow weapon so we're not running out of mana. Of course, the slower the weapon, the less mana cost there is, and so a Scorn's going to do well for us. Some people do go Spear just so they can get an offhand as well, but I think Scorn's probably the best way to go. I like to put about 15% of our, sorry, 30% of our budget onto the two-hander. If we have a one-hander and offhand, then I'll do 20 and 10, but since we're getting a two-hander, we can put 15 mil on here of our 50 mil budget. And of course we want an int Scorn. So we're going to say at least 270 int just to make sure it's rolling int as its main stat. And we want lifesteal on here. Lifesteal is just going to help us stay alive, so it's kind of a necessity. Also put crit damage on here just so we can sort by crit damage. And let's see what we can get. 15 mil looks like, oh, I don't want to sort by crit damage, I just want to see the crit damage rather. There we go. And let's mouse over these a little bit, see what kind of damage reduction we're getting. Probably want to try to get a little bit more crit damage than this. Let's see if we can get 160 and still get good weapon damage. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, now we're getting more damage. We're getting less of a damage reduction, I should say, compared to the Scorn I currently have equipped. So let's go. Let's see, that one's not bad right there. It's a nice cheap. It does have a low lifesteal, so you could consider getting a one with more lifesteal if you wanted to. It's tough because that's 4 mil. That's a pretty big part of our budget. Let's go ahead and get the less lifesteal. I think we'll be okay. We might not be able to do MP10 with this set, but we should be able to do at least MP7. However, I'm not very experienced with the Witch Doctor, so someone else might be able to do it better than I could. We're going to get Azunimas's Vision next. We only get one random affix on here, so we're going to go crit chance because it's pretty important. I'll try to get at least 4 crit chance, and I'd say at least 165, and then we'll see how much bit we can get. I'll put that on there just so we can sort by that. We want to get a 4-piece Zuni. That's why we're going Zunamas's Vision. There's a lot of good set bonuses on Zunis, the all res, the int, and then we're going 4-piece so that we can get increased mana generation and mana per kill. That's one of the biggest issues with Witch Doctors for the majority of their builds is you're running out of mana all the time. So if you can find a way to keep your mana up, it's pretty much necessary. So vit wise, let's say at least 65. We'll see if we can get more than 4 crit. We're not going to go 15 mil though. For the rest of the pieces of my gear, I usually put about 10% of our budget as the max buyout. You can't afford to spend 10% of your budget on every other piece, but you're going to get some deals sometimes. So overall, it usually ends up working out to right around where your budget is. Let's see. So we can get some nice int rolls there. Let's see how much crit chance we can get. There's a few here with 4.5. That's actually a really good deal right there for only 2.4 mil. So I'm going to snatch it before someone else does. But I had good int and vit roll in addition to having 4.5 crit. So we took that. Let's get our Zunamasa's Morrow next. Now it's nice to get armor on the Zuna's Morrow, but I think it's usually a little bit overpriced. So we're just going to see how much int and vit we can get. I'm going to go at least 150 int. That way we can rock out some vit since we didn't get much on the Zuni's helm. Oh, can't get that much though. I'll just say 185 for now. We'll see how high we can go. See, we can go up to 204. It's only 150 int. But it is super cheap. So we might take that just to save some money. It's only 500,000. Now, there's no telling how many good deals you're going to get while you're shopping on the auction house. But you take them when you can get them, and you assume you're going to get a few. Of course, the slower you build your set, then the more deals you'll find. If you spend a week building your set and finding bids and stuff, then you'll get a lot more deals. Okay, the Zuni's Trail, I would like to not get a high all-res roll on here, but I don't think we have much of a choice. You need a lot of all-res for a Witch Doctor set, especially if you want to do the higher MPs. I try to get at least 700. We'll get 200 of that or more from Int, so we'll try to get around 500 on our gear, and that means we're going to have to get a few pieces of all-res on pieces that I wouldn't usually get it. The Zuni's Trail being one of them. This one right here isn't too bad for 5 mil. We get about 200 stat points and 75 all-res. Get a little bit of life regen on there too. Not super important, but I think we'll go with those. It's nice to have 8% poison damage on here, but not necessary. I would view the 1% extra poison damage as about 20 stat points. It's going to vary based on your gear. But let's go ahead and grab those. That'll knock out some of our all-res. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and finish off the 3-piece Zunis. So yeah, 3-piece Zunis is a great way to get all-res. You can get all-res on each of the 3 pieces, and then you get 55 for the third one. We're actually getting 4-piece Zunis, so excuse me there. Now, we don't want to get attack speed on any more pieces than we have to. And we're not going to go crit chance on Zuni's Pox because it's pretty expensive. I'd say it's a little bit overpriced. But average damage is usually a little bit underpriced. However, average damage isn't great with a slow attack speed, so we'll compare it to a few other things. Let's try to get a high int roll and some average damage. It's only 1 with that. Let's see, we lose about 12,000 damage with that ring there. I'm comparing it to a pretty nice Zuni's Pox, which is why. So let's also look at maybe some int with Vit. You can never have too much Vit, especially on a Witch Doctor. That lifesteal will fill it right back up, so it comes in handy. And I'll just leave Vit blank there. Let's see what we can get. Yeah, you can see that average damage actually wasn't doing that much. Even right here. Oh, wow. That seems like quite a deal. Some good average damage, good int, and a little bit of Vit on there. We'll have to keep that one in mind. I'm used to building sets on the stream, and when we build sets on the stream, I have to worry about people stream sniping me. Yeah, that's a pretty nice one. There's a good chance we're going to take that. I just want to peruse our other options here. That one gives us some protection because of the strength, I see. Okay, let's just say real quick, let's double check to make sure there's not any other great deals here. I'm actually surprised that one hasn't been taken. But no, I'm not seeing anything else too great. So we put average damage back on so we can grab that. There it is. I could look at the other ones with average damage really quick, but yeah, none of them really compare to this one. For 5 mil, that seems like quite a deal right there. So yeah, we don't want to get attack speed because that's going to make us run through our mana quicker. The one exception I would make is the Witching Hour. There's not many great belts to get there, and so I think the small amount of attack speed is worth it just to get a good damage roll there. Now we started with 1860, so we spent 21 mil so far. Have to keep an eye on that so we make sure we stay in our budget. Let's see, let's go 140 int. I think we should be able to get that. And maybe some Vit, although this might be a good place to get some armor as well. And we want 8% attack speed. If we get 9, it's fine, but 8 or 9 really, it's a toss-up. Crit damage, I'll keep it kind of low. And we'll compare, see what we can get. We can go legendary only. The reason I don't search for Witching Hour is because you can't put attack speed and crit damage on there if you put Witching Hour in. And it's pretty crazy how cheap Witching Hours have gotten recently. Get them really cheap. There's some strength on that one, which is nice. I can't believe it's only 5 mil. That's pretty crazy. But let's look at armor. There might be some Witching Hours with armor rolls, but no, it doesn't look like it. We only have 3 Witching Hours here, but this one here is such a good deal. I think I'll go ahead and take it. We're gonna have some. We'll get some armor from the pants, and so that'll probably make up for what we could have gotten here. Now I'm actually gonna go rare pants and rare bracers. I know the Kunis and Innas are pretty popular with most sets, but for Witch Doctor, the movement speed's not as important as it might be on like a Whirlwind Barb or an Archon Wizard, and we don't want that attack speed, which both are on the Kunis and Innas. and you can usually get some good deals on rare pants. So we're going to see if we can get some armor and all res. We might put sockets on here too. I know a lot of people feel like if you're getting rare pants, you have to have sockets, and that might be true for like high-end ones. But because people feel that way, because people think you have to have sockets, sometimes you can get some really good deals without them. So we'll look both with and without sockets. Let's go. We'll start at 125 int, 125 vite. See what we can get there. Not a huge selection here, but we'll see what we have. Huge armor roll there. We sort by armor, yeah. Those are pretty cheap, not huge stat rolls. Let's see. That one just not worth the extra cost there. Depth diggers are pretty popular, but I would say only go for them if you're trying to get gold find and magic find, which is nice at low paragons. But it's just really a choice you have to make. It's not too bad, but not as nice as that first one. Man, that's a nice vite roll on there for 3.2. Let's see, yeah, I think leaning towards that one. The all res and armor aren't quite as high, but that vite is just very nice, and 3.2 is not bad. None of these have sockets. We could look with sockets, but that's of course going to increase the cost as well. Let's just go ahead and grab those. That knocks out some of our armor and all res. Pickup radius is another thing that's kind of up to you. I'm not going to get it on this set just because we only have 50 mil. If I had a little bit more, might get it. But pickup radius has gotten pretty expensive. Again, we're going rare bracers. We'll try to get armor and all res, but we might have to drop the armor because we definitely want some crit chance. I'll go 4.5, although it would be nice to get more. There's just not a lot of rare bracers posted. So there, let's see, we're losing 14,000 damage to get 2,500 life. Let's see how that changes when we take the armor off. See what other deals we can get. Let's see. It's quite a significant increase in damage. So we might have to nix the armor roll. However, it looks like it's just this one, and it is 5 mil. Let's see, so that's about, I view 1 point's life as about the same as 1 point of damage. It's not an exact science, and it's kind of up to you how you value each one. But just to simplify things, sometimes I'll add the two together and say that's like a 6,000 decrease from the current piece versus, what did we get? Let's see, the armor roll. Yeah, it's a pretty significant difference. It'd be nice to have that armor, but I think we might have to go with something like that. Let's see. Here we get more. Oh, we get poison resin dex on there. That's why. For 1.5 mil. Do lose a bit of stat points. We get more all res. And that's a toss up. Let's see. How much have we spent so far? We've spent most of our budget. We still have shoulders, amulet, gloves, 1 ring. So we only have 4 pieces to get still. I guess we can go ahead and splurge and get the 5 mil one. Oh, that armor roll is pretty horrible though. Yeah, on second thought, let's get this 1.5. Sometimes the armor roll on those bracers, what is this? Yeah, item level 58, so the armor roll's gonna be pretty bad there. So we'll get this one just because it's slightly cheaper. Let's see, let's get our other ring now. This ring we can just stack pure damage on. It's the same with the gloves. We're probably going to try this on at some point just to see where we're at. It's a nice idea if you're not too comfortable with building this set to try it on halfway through. I know most people won't build their sets all in one sitting, but if you are, definitely want to check to make sure you're on par before completing it. Otherwise you might end up with a finished set that doesn't have stat points you need just for survivability. Okay, so we're going to go crit damage, int, and we'll probably nix average damage just because we have such a slow attack speed. It's not going to be worth much. But we could get, we could get like a wailing host. That might not be a bad idea. Damage against elites, nice. We'd even try to get a litany, but yeah, it might be too expensive. That all res would be nice, but we got it on other pieces. Litany's nice too because it reduces damage taken from elites. So let's see, that one Wow, 7% life on that Wailing Host as well. It's not too bad. I think we are a little low on Vit still, so maybe we'll add either life percent or Vit. Let's see what we can get. And the damage rolls on these just aren't that great. Let's see. Now, of course, the more time you spend looking through items, the better deals you can find. That's not bad right there. Sorry, let me just remind myself how much damage we are losing here. 3,600. Okay. Yeah, not finding anything that really compares to that high int roll. That was not too bad there. It's only 1 million. We do lose the damage to elites, of course. Let me just compare it with Vit real fast. And we'll put 60 Vit. See if we can get less than 3,600. Sort by crit damage. That is a lot of health right there. How much is it? 3 mil. I guess a little bit of bonus armor on that one. Definitely getting more life from the Vit than we did from the life percent, if I remember correctly, but I apologize for going back and forth. Let me just make sure we're making the right decision here. Yeah, I think we might want to go with the Vit. Let's see. Go 65 Vit as well. And let me crank up the crit damage to 36. So we got a high crit chance for cheap. Let's see. That one right there. Where is it? No, right here. Pretty nice for 3 mil. 44 crit damage, 5 crit chance. A little bit of dexterity for some dodge. Just see if we can find anything better. Let's see, it's pretty comparable. Not quite there. Yeah, we'll get that one for 3 mil. Just got posted. I think we got a bit of a deal for 3 mil there. So let me go ahead and try this on. I want to see where it's going to land so I can retrieve it. And we'll see where we're at so far. But we can make sure we're hitting our health mark and our all res. I'm going to go ahead and buy the 80% gem now so I don't forget to do it later. Assuming that it's in our budget. I think we can afford it. It's for the weapon, of course, 2.5 mil. That'll give us 10 mil left for gloves, shoulders, and amulet. Yeah, I think that'll be enough. Go ahead and buy that out. Okay, let's see what we're working with so far. Again, if you want to, you could go one-hander and offhand, and then you could get a different helm other than Zuni's helm, because you could get Zuni's offhand, that is. But I think that this is usually the way to go. So let's see, is that the belt we got? Yeah. I believe that's it. Just a ring. The rest of our pieces. Okay, so... Oops. I gotta close my inventory here. Let's replace these pieces we have on, and we'll take off the rest so we can see where we're at. So we don't have shoulders yet. More gloves. Or an amulet. Everything else is looking good. So our health is at 39.6. So we're actually good on health right now. Our Paragon's only 9, so that should be enough health for almost anyone. If you have higher Paragon, you'll have even more. Our damage, of course, is very low right now. You know, it'll go up a bit with the amulet and the gloves. Damage is going to be a little bit lower on Witch Doctors than you might see on other classes, specifically because you have to go really tanky. You have to get lifesteal, but you can still put out a lot of damage. So we can get a ruby for that helm or an amethyst. Probably get something lower end. We'll see what we have left in our budget. And yeah, let's go ahead, grab the gloves, shoulders, and amulet now. And then we'll see how this set turns out. I just want to make sure. Okay, we have 2300 armor. Yeah, that should be fine. Our all res is looking great with those shoulders, and the rest of the int we're getting, we should be up to 700. Okay. I'll have to get some gems for the chest, of course, as well. But we'll probably just get some really cheap ones, and then those could be upgraded later. Okay, let's do the gloves next. And we're just going pure damage here. Again, we already have our defense needs pretty much met. So buy on gloves, we'll say 5 mil. We're going to try to spend less than that. We'll see. Go int. Crit chance, crit damage. We don't want attack speed again. We're trying to keep our attack speed low. So let's try to get a high int roll. At least 8.5 crit and 28 crit damage. I'm sure we can get more than that. Let's see, we can get a lot more int than that too. Okay, so let's go at least 145 int. And what kind of crit damage can we get? Oh, we can get a lot of crit damage. Okay, so let's go, we'll say 35 crit damage. I'd like to narrow this down more. Oh, you know what? I should have put the rest of my gear back on so I can compare this. Alright, so now that we have our gloves on, we can compare them to the other gloves on the auction house. Those right there are pretty nice just because we get some vit as well. Let me actually pump up the crit damage here, or crit chance rather. I like to only have 1 or 2 pages of results. We have 5 pages right now. Let's see, but we're either going to go a high int roll or a high crit damage roll. It's pretty nice. They are 5 mil, but a really nice roll. We don't need the extra vit, but it never hurts. Let's see if there's anything else exceptional in the high int category. Not seeing too much. Let's switch over to high crit damage. See, we're actually losing a little bit more damage here. I didn't want to spend 5 mil, but I think those are just a good deal, so I'm going to go ahead and grab these Thief's Ruse. That gives us, let's see, 8 mil left in our budget. So that's gonna make it a little hard, but we'll be able to do it. We'll go with the Amulet. We want to get int, crit chance, crit damage. That's probably all we're going to get on the Amulet. If you have a bigger budget, all res can sometimes be good on the Amulet. More health. I wouldn't get average damage just because it's really expensive on the Amulet typically, and it's not very good for slow attack speeds. But we can stack some crit chance, crit damage on here pretty easily. Get a nice int roll. So actually see how much the int roll goes up if we go 65 crit damage. Okay, that's a pretty big difference. So that one has some armor on it right there. That's not too bad. Let's see if we can lose less than... Okay, so that's 2,500 loss for 5 mil. 2,200 for 5 mil. That's 10 crit chance. Not bad at all. Let's see... anything better than that here? Another one for 2,200 loss. Let's look at high crit damage ones. 2,200 again. It'd be cool if you could sort or search for amount of damage lost from your current amulet. Imagine how easy that would make it. It's a big damage loss, but that 354 armor is pretty huge. Might not be a bad idea to grab that armor. We would lose a couple thousand damage, but it might be worth it. It's a tough call. Was a cheaper one. Again, it's kind of just a toss-up. Really up to you how defensive you want to build it. It's 190, but it's 5 mil opposed to the 3.5 mil. It's not nearly as much damage. We're losing, what is that, 2,700 damage. It's going to have an impact for sure. That 354 armor, that's like an extra piece of gear armor-wise. I think I'm going to have to take it. It's a decent deal. And let's see, we'll finish out with the Vile Wards. We still have 5 mil, but we want to get some gems, of course. So let's grab the Vile Wards. We'll go int. We could just go pure int. We could try to get some more vit if we wanted to. We already have more than enough vit, especially since we got some on the gloves. There's a nice strength roll on that. Sometimes strength rolls are pretty cheap on these int ones, and they're bonus armor, so they're still worth something. Let's go maybe 240 int and see how much vit we could get to see if it's going to be worth it. Seems like it might be. Let's see, that's only 25, 24. So if we were going to go vit, we'd probably get these first ones. They also have 75 strength on them. 38 vit. We don't lose that much int either, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab those. It's a good enough deal. Now we have 2 mil left. Let's see what kind of gems we can get for the chest. Let's see how much 3-star topaz would be. Ooh, it's a little over our budget, especially since we want to get a ruby still for the helm. So we'll go with radiant squares. Not the best gems, but you can always upgrade those. And then let's see what kind of ruby can we get. We definitely get a star. I don't think we can afford a flawless star. Nope. Actually, now I'm wondering if we can get a star. Yes, rubies are a little more expensive than I thought. Alright, we have to go radiant square ruby as well. We're staying within our budget. Let's see how that turns out, and we'll try this out on maybe MP7. Our shoulders, amulet, gloves. Okay. Resume game. Let's go ahead and grab those items. Here's our amulet. Our vile wards. And our gloves. And of course we'll get these gems. Looks like I already had some Radiant Star Rubies. Oh, I must have bought 3 Radiant Star Rubies. You guys are probably watching this going, that guy's an idiot. He forgot to change it to 1, and that's why I couldn't afford it. I just thought rubies were really expensive. Okay, so looks like it didn't turn out too bad. We have 3,700 armor. I'm glad we got that amulet because we would have been a little low on armor, I think, without it. 124,000 damage with 9 Paragon, that is. Our lowest all res is 738. That's really nice. Crit chance isn't great, but 543 crit damage is awesome. We have 43,000 life, which is great for only 9 Paragon. We have our lifesteal, and yeah, overall it's looking pretty good. Let's see, we're on Paragon. We're on MP7 right now, rather. So let's go ahead and see if we can kill some elite packs. So I have a pretty standard skill set up here. You could change out fire bats for acid cloud or zombie bears, and in fact I think I might. Cloud of bats does a ton of damage, but you have to face tank everything. You have to let things get right up next to you, and I'm just not good enough with the witch doctor. I feel I need a little bit more practice. I always end up getting owned by enemies with knockback. I find that zombie bears you can stand a little bit further away, but you can play around with it. Acid Cloud you can stand even further away, and you can see which one you like the most. Passives could change up a little bit, but these ones work. Lots of different variations of this build, but this is one I've been playing with recently. Pull out more my Gargantuan. Try to get some stacks of Soul Harvest at the beginning. Just going to ignore some of these enemies so we can get to an elite pack. Right, Soul Harvest up a little bit here. They're all going to my Gargantuan. So the enemies will drop pretty quickly on MP7. We get hit, but our health comes back pretty fast as well. You really dish out a ton of damage. Have to avoid these tremors so they don't knock me back. Knockback's just really annoying with channeled spells, because it, of course, is going to interrupt you. And usually we can find a elite pack pretty quickly and keep depths 3, but you can see it rips through enemies. It's not the Witch Doctor's not the fastest class, which is why usually the higher MPs are better. And I'm sure you could do MP10 with build with this defense. I know a lot of people do. I'm not very good with the Witch Doctor, as anyone who plays Witch Doctor normally could probably tell. We got Frozen here. Just trying to keep my distance enough that I don't get owned. That's why Zombie Bear is a little bit nicer, I think. See, we don't have many issues with mana. Let me get out of this. A pretty mean elite pack here. We got Molten. Extra health. My Zombie Bear's getting stuck on walls here. Keep depth seems not too nice to Zombie Bears. Let's see if we can get this guy down a bit. Extra health on this yellow mob, and I think this mob type has extra health already. You see we're hitting for up to 700,000 damage. Whoa. Got rubber banded there. I was definitely out of that frozen, I'm sure you saw. Let's see if we can spirit walk over here, get our hex guy out. I'm not sure if the yellow guys can even be hexed. You can see you can really dish out some damage even with a 50 mil set. And again, you need more defenses than you do on most classes. But Witch Doctor does have some of the hardest hitting spells in the game. Oh, should be hitting him while he's in Hex. So yeah, someone who is actually experienced with the Witch Doctor, or maybe you once you're played more in a Witch Doctor than I have, do a little bit better here. You can play around with the other skills as well. I think you can get a pretty nice build for 50 mil. You could try it with less than that, of course, but you have to go down MPs, and if you do it with more, then you can probably do higher MPs pretty easily as well. This guy just has a ton of health, but you can see those numbers. We're hitting pretty hard still. That's about it. That's the 50 mil Witch Doctor guide. Hopefully that'll help you building a Witch Doctor. I'll have some more other guides coming out soon. If you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button, and I'll have another one for you soon.